Welcome to another video going through the features and functionality of FastTrack Automation Studio. In this video we're going to go through creating a basic Outlook signature using FastTrack, and then we'll go ahead and install it via a login script. So where we are right now is in the Automation Studio. This is where we create and edit our scripts. So what we have up is a basic pre-logon script. So it's a script that we want to run during the logon process, but before the user gets into the Explorer. Just in the beginning here we have some basic comments about what's going on, where you can get some additional information. Here I'm going to actually use a splash screen. This is an introduction to the user, that they're logging on to the network, and then down below we're going to go ahead and install the Outlook signature. So the first thing I want to do is I want to check to see whether or not Outlook is installed. Well, the first thing I'll do is type in if, and you can see we have the context helper is helping us, and it went ahead and found the if-then statement. So this is what I want. So I'll hit a space. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to check about Outlook. So I'm just going to start typing for Outlook, and it's going to give me some options, and the option you can see here is Outlook installed. I can also search the same engine browser over here on the left to try to find the command or the function that I need to use. So I want to use if Outlook installed. Then what we're going to do is go ahead and install the primary signature. So I'm going to go ahead and type in install, and I can see down here there's a bunch of different options, but I notice it's install signature. So I'm going to go ahead and use that command. Again, I can go and search on the left hand side here if I would like to try and find it that way, and drag and drop it in. Now the next thing we'll have to do is you notice we have a full example of this command, and it's explained to us how to format it and other options that are available. At this point I need to put in the name of the signature file, but we haven't created that signature file. So we can either use an existing RTF, or we can create it using Outlook. So let's go ahead and create it using Outlook. I'm going to go over here to the App Factory, where we have a bunch of wizards, and you notice we have signatures, and under signatures we have design and Outlook signature. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. This is going to bring up an RTF editor, and in that RTF editor we can go ahead and build the Outlook signature exactly the way we want it for all of our network users. So you can see here we have a basic empty RTF file, so we can go ahead and begin typing in what we want our signature file to look like. At this point in time, what I can do is I can either type in exactly what I want it to be, but notice that whatever I type in, every user is going to get the same thing. Otherwise, what we most likely want to do is pull it from our Active Directory. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my Active Directory properties, and I want to go ahead and find the username. So I'm going to pick first name, and then I'm going to put a space in, and I'm going to pick another AD property of last name. So at this point I don't particularly care for the formatting, so I'm going to go ahead and change that and drop out the italics. And I do like Verdana, so I'm going to keep my Verdana, and for right now 10 is going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the next attribute that I want, which is the user's title. Again, noting that we're pulling all of this from Active Directory. And then instead of putting in the company name, I'm going to go ahead and put in our company logo. So you can see here we have embed image. I'm going to go ahead and embed the image. You could also point to an image on your network if you wanted to. Now on my desktop I have a folder with some images in it. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my PNG image, drop it in, and then format it to the size I want. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to put in my contact information. So I'm going to go ahead and put in phone, and at this point I'm going to use the company's main line, so I don't have to pull it from Active Directory. I could, if I wanted to, pull in an Active Directory property, like for example IP phone or regular phone and so forth, but for this I want to use the primary phone number for the company. So the next thing I want to do is I want to put in the email address from Active Directory. And then under that I want to put in our website. One more thing is I'm going to add a tagline. So I want to do a little formatting here. I want everything to be italicized. Then we're going to go ahead and Make the company name bold. And we can change fonts or do whatever we would like here. So I'm going to go ahead and make my name a little bit larger than the rest. And I think for right now that's going to look good. So I'm going to go ahead and save my signature, and I need to give it a name. So in order to not have to point to it in a specific location, we want to drop that up into that Logon Fishbin folder, so that you'll see later when we go back to the script how it'll call right from it. We don't have to use any UNC paths or anything to point to our signature. So I'm going to go ahead and replace that, close down my editor, and we'll go back here to our script. Now you see it's waiting to say, okay, what file do you want to put in there? So we want Outlook signature. So we also want to give it a signature property of company name. So again, I'm going to try and just start typing. Again, I can use the engine browser on the left, but there it found it right away. So the next thing we want to do here is set every new email will have the signature. So we'll do set new, and you'll see we get the property, and we want to name this with our Active Directory property of company name. And then lastly, we want to set the reply signature, and we also want that to have the name, company name from Active Directory. That's it for our if then else statement. So we'll end the if, and we have just set our Outlook signature. Now we can go ahead and test this script to make sure it's correct. So I'm going to go ahead and debug it. And when we debug the script, this is a good practice to get into with everything you're developing. We're going to step through each line just to make sure everything is operating properly. It looks all good, so we can exit. And you can see here after we debug that it's already saved the script up to the NetLogon location. So from this perspective, we're all good. Now we can test it with a user, and back here I also have a user who's currently logged in called Joe User with Outlook installed. We're going to go ahead and check, see that his signature is cleared out. And you can see here he has no signature. So I'm going to go ahead and close this down, and we're going to log Joe off and then log him back in again. So the first thing we should see is an introduction to the network for our Joe user. And prior to getting to the Explorer, the Outlook signature is currently being installed. So let's go ahead into Outlook. And we'll start up a new signature, and you can see we have the new user, Joe User, with his title that's been pulled from Active Directory and all of the tagline information that we placed in along with his email address. So creating a standardized Outlook signature with FastTrack is pretty straightforward. We add the necessary script lines to our Logon script, created our RTF in the RTF editor, or if you already have one built in RTF format, then you can just put that up in the NetLogon folder and drop it into the pre-Logon script, and then when users log on, they'll have the standardized Outlook signature installed. Thank you for watching today, and don't forget you can download a free trial from our website.